Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the AfterShock EpiCenter live stream. I'm your host and the communications specialist here at AfterShock Comics, RuthAnn Thompson. So we have quite a lot to tell you about today. I'm very excited. We're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con next week and so much more. But let's jump in and talk about the new comic book titles coming out for tomorrow's new comic book day on Wednesday, July 13th. So first up, we have Dogs of London issue 3. So this is from writer Peter Milligan and artist Artacita. And this continues our story following Frank Babbs, who is not a man to scare easily, but now he is very scared. Everything he's built, the lies he's constructed upon his life, might soon be blown away. See, back in the swinging 60s, Frank poisoned 3 of his best friends, as what happens when you're in the mob, certain that one of them had killed his lover. Making things more complicated, the whole business was witnessed by a stripper who is now Frank's wife. That's the best way to keep yourself safe. And now, 40 odd years later, the 3 long dead gangsters have risen from the grave to seek revenge, and all of Frank's money and knighthood won't save him. So very excited to have this title continue. It's a very fun, gritty, a little bit of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, since we do have sometimes we're back in the swinging 60s versus present day to see the difference of the Dogs of London. Next up for tomorrow's new comic book day on July 13th, we have the Heathens, Hunters of the Damned complete series. So this is from prolific horror writer Cullen Bunn, as well as Heath Amadeo, and artist Sammy Chiavella, which is all about unrighteous rogues on a quest for not so divine retribution. So this feels a little bit of like a Suicide Squad meets League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but these are all the worst of the worst who have already passed away. Because when even people escape from the depths of eternal abyss, the pirate Queen Lady She is sent to retrieve them. But when one of history's notorious killers breaks free and she needs help, enter the Heathens. We have She, Lucky Luciano, Bumpy Johnson, Sophia the Golden Hand, and Billy the Kid. From hell they come to mete out justice as dark as their own tormented souls. So in Heathens, the Hunters of the Damned, evil meets its match, with 5 of them to be exact. And this volume that's going to be out in tomorrow's new comic book day does collect all of the 5 issues, number 1 through 5, and it's absolutely so much fun. We have a great quote from Bob Harrison of Pop Culture Squad, who said, "Hell yeah, this is an intriguing concept from the super active mind of Cullen Bunn. I could not agree more." And we have a very exciting week. I am so stoked for this week's happy hour. So make sure to add it to your calendars this Thursday, July 14th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to pour yourself a drink and join me with Maniac of New York and Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning writer Elliot Kalan. So this is going to be our first time being able to interview him to talk about both volumes, because we have volume 2 coming out very soon in stores. Hello, Nathan Duncan, welcome, and JD Smith, good to see you. Yes, JD Smith, I absolutely agree, getting the League Extraordinary Gents vibes as well from that story. And so glad you guys could join. And Forrest Bates, I also cannot wait for Thursday. I have so many questions for Elliot. So if you do as well, please join us. And then we will be following it with the world famous AfterShock sale. We're going to have a lot of Maniac of New York swag for you guys available for a fraction of the cost. And fast approaching, we have some amazing titles coming out for you guys. So make sure that when you're at your LCS tomorrow, you add these to your pull list. First up, we have Samurai Doggy issue 1. This comes from writer Chris Tex and artist Santos, who you might recognize from Land of the Living Gods. And this story follows our dog named Doggy, who during the First World War of the Sun, a small dog named Doggy experienced an irreparable trauma. His mother was brutally murdered, and his 8 brothers, still puppies, were kidnapped by a mysterious man. To save them, Doggy fought bravely against the terrible killer, but all of his efforts were in vain as he was left for dead. Nobody imagined that he would be possibly found by a technological vulture scavenging the region for corpses, and that would be the person that would rescue the dying dog from Hell's Scythe and also basically build him up to be the Samurai Doggy. So this is written by Chris Tex, who you might know from Blackout, and as I said before, Santos, Land of Living Gods, and I cannot get enough of his artwork. So excited to be working with him again. Samurai Doggy is a story of lost revenge and the journey to defeat the greatest empire of machines and robots that have ever existed. So very anime vibes here as well. So make sure that when you're at your local comic book shop, you this coming Wednesday, you add this to your pull list, because the order deadline for this is going to be July 18th, the following Monday. And this will be in shops on August 10th. So very stoked about that. So JD says, sure, Doggy is a samurai, but is he a good boy? He's always a good boy. They're always, doggies are always good boys. I agree. Next up, also that are coming up very soon that you need to add to your pull list is There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd, issue 2. So if you hang out at the end of the show, we'll talk about issue 1 that came out last week, but this continues the title by Ed Brisson and Gavin Gowdry. I can speak today as the artist. And this still follows 15-year-old Patrick Todd, who is living on the run, hiding out in seedy motels, living out of his backpack, and making sure that his mom, recently struck down by a mysterious illness of the mind, is well cared for. But doctors cost money, a lot of money. So Patrick turns to a life of crime, and he actually has some telepathic abilities that he's had all of his life that he's kept hidden. And now he forces the worst of the worst to rob banks, taking the money before making them turn themselves into the police, as well as confess to all the other crimes that they've actually committed. But someone has taken notice of Patrick's schemes, and a reckoning is coming. Will the police find Patrick in time to save him, or will he become yet another victim of the killer called Zeus? So this is written by Ed Brisson, as well as the artwork from Gavin Gowdry, who you might know from Captain America, The Ghost Army, and Going to the Chapel. There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd weaves a web of intrigue, deceit, and hot pursuit as danger closes in from all directions. And again, for all those that read issue 1 last week, please stick around because I'd love to discuss this with you because there's a lot going on in this first issue. And as the same as the other book, that will have a deadline of July 18th, this coming Monday. So make sure you add it to your pull list before then. Hello, Bernie Sindall, and Nathan Duncan says, who is Canadian? We work with a lot of Canadians here at AfterShock, so hopefully we have a lot of viewers from there as well. Speaking of people that work with us, we are still looking for some ambassadors. We're looking for some people to join our team. So if you're a fan of AfterShock or know somebody who is a fan of AfterShock that lives in either Indianapolis, Indiana, or Long Island, New York, we need you to be able to visit shops every month, bring them some awesome swag, and teach them about these incredible titles. And now it is time for the reviews. All right, welcome back, folks. This is where we talk about last week's new comic book day titles. So if you haven't read them, I am going to spoil quite a lot. So please, if you haven't read these titles and you don't like spoilers, I will see you next week or hopefully this Thursday for the happy hour with Elliot Kalan at 5 p.m. Eastern on July 14th. So last week, we had the first issue of There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd. And this is from writer Ed Brisson, who we worked with several times before, as well as artist Gavin Gowdry. So it was funny because when we finished last week's episode, both me and the video producer here, Stefan Nielsen, we're chatting about it a little bit. We're like, he seems like he's a bad guy. If he's making people do these things for money, he's a bad guy. That's not, it doesn't forgive him just because there also happen to be bad people. And man, guys, after reading this first issue, Patrick Todd is not a good guy. I understand he's obviously stealing money for his mom and all this kind of stuff, but seeing how that one dude just died from having him in his head, again, I don't condone any of the crimes that the people had committed before Patrick Todd met them, but he's being judge, jury, and executioner with basically killing them off just so he can have money to pay the bills. And it's I'm very interested to see how this goes. I think it's going to test everybody's moral code as well. So I'm very interested to see what you all think and who this Zeus guy is that comes in at the end, who's obviously on the hunt for, I'm guessing, anybody with telekinetic or any of those telepathic powers. I don't know. So I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. I'm loving the artwork from Gavin Gowdry. It becomes very vicious as soon as it needs to be. But yeah, this is a very interesting story from Ed Brisson. So I'm very interested to see what you guys think and how this goes after this. Last week, we also had Astrodot down issue 2. So now we have a little bit of understanding of what happened to our astronaut, who we realized by the end that he'd been cutting in and out of different realities to begin with. And I don't know if Douglas is going to make it out of here or if he wants to, because now he's in a world that the cancer and the tumors have been healed across the world, and he has his wife. So why would he leave? But it'll be interesting to see how they connect the dots between these two realities and see if they can save the world and see if Douglas can even survive the back and forth, because now there's by the end of this, 6 astronauts that have died just to get Douglas to this other reality and see if he can send back the code that can hopefully save the world from ultimate destruction. So a lot going on in these 2 titles. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I did. Looking forward to seeing you all for the happy hour with Elliot Clan this Thursday, July 14th at 5 p.m. Eastern. And until then, make sure to stay safe out there, wash your hands, wear your masks, keep your distance, and only read dangerously. We'll see you Thursday.